Good morning. It is time for a somewhat weekly dose of Kingdom 101, Daily Basics for Saints. Backwards as always. Been doing it the whole time. Hadn't figured out how to get it on there right yet. Well, I wanted to talk to you today about a topic that is, it's imperative that we all have an understanding of it, and it's the poor. You can read the in the description below the text of this. As always, there is recorded lessons of this on our YouTube page. Please subscribe and like and do all the stuff. All right, let's jump in to a little bit, a very brief overview, a thumbnail of what God says about the poor. Throughout the Bible, God demonstrates his mercy to the poor. From the poor in spirit to those in material need, God moves on their behalf. Now, I want to stop right now and talk about what it means to be poor in spirit. It doesn't mean that you are bankrupt because we have nothing because God hasn't done enough. What it means to be poor in spirit, which is found in Matthew 5, it's one of the Beatitudes, if you're familiar with it that way. To be poor in spirit is actually a wonderful thing to realize. We are all poor in spirit. If you term it like this, that to be poor in spirit means you see all God has made available to us as his children, and you see the little tiny small amount of that we're walking in. That is when you recognize, compared to the glorious intimacy, the glorious closeness, the glorious relationship, or the blessings, or the commitments, or the signs, wonders, and miracles that we're walking in. Hey guys, if you see how much there is that God has to offer and see how much you're really experiencing, then we realize we really are poor in spirit. And to recognize that is great. And it goes along with the next beatitude, which is blessed are those who mourn. Now, it's not great to have terrible circumstances. Part of what this can mean is that you realize how poor in spirit you are, and you mourn that. You say, God, I want more. And he comforts you by giving you more. And it's just perpetuated that we are always recognizing how poor in spirit we are. It says in translation, instead of blessed, is happy are those, whose hearts are energized, that realize they're poor in spirit, and how happy are those that are mourning about it, and they will be comforted. So ask God to reveal to you how poor in spirit you are. Now, because I wanted you to understand, it doesn't always mean finances. However, oftentimes in scripture it does. This is where you literally put your money where your mouth is. Those among us are the weakest, and the weakest are the poor of, well, let me try that again. Those among the weakest of the poor are the orphan and widow. We are ambassadors of Christ to take care of his flock, and blessed are we as we do so. God has a special place in his heart for the widow and orphan. He mentions them very specifically again and again. You can see in cultures that are not as fast-paced or somewhat advanced, it depends on what you consider advanced, advanced in degradation sometimes, but you can see it more easily in cultures that have a more simple lifestyle, to see how destitute the poor and the widows and the orphans are, because their main support has left, their protection is gone, their relationships are lacking. And so to support the poor that Jesus says we will always have with us until he returns, it's an opportunity, but it doesn't always have to be giving money to the guy under the bridge on Chadburn. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Be discerning, be discriminating in what you do. But it can also mean giving your time to someone that is fatherless or motherless. It can mean joining some organization, or taking part, if you belong to a congregation, taking part in grabbing one of those young girls or boys that does not have a godly influence in their lives. It's taking that time to take care of an orphan, or if there's a woman that or a man, widowers, it's if there's someone that has lost their spouse. They may be doing fine financially, but emotionally, they might really appreciate if you reach out and lend your hand to them. Make that call. Take them out to lunch. Get out. Go do something with them. Do the works of Jesus. And he gave the widow back her son. Now, if you can do that, go for it. Raise somebody from the dead. But if not, maybe you could become that son. I hope these topics are making you think. I hope they are encouraging your heart. And I want you to look at the description below and realize that I'm asking you to think of something. It says name 3 ways you can serve the poor. And after you make those 3 ways, you think of them, what if you do them? What if you put it, I'm notorious. I don't do Hey Siri because I don't want her listening to everything I do, even though she probably does anyway, but hit that. Remind me at 2 o'clock to call so-and-so, or set on your calendar, go by so-and-so. And if you can't find anybody, my goodness, in the United States, we have nursing homes full of people that would love a visit. And it's okay if you just walk in and introduce yourself. They'd be happy to have anyone. So I hope this is, like I said, moving you to action, awakening your heart, encouraging you. And as always, release that Revy.